Hello and good day. We are the group 5. We are the first reporter for the subject MSRT 105. Together with my co-member, Ma'am Tano, we're gonna discuss all about the three main topics for this day, which is the future of the radiology, the challenges and the opportunities, the modern day radiology department, and also the challenges in the radiologist and the technologist relationship. So let's start. Hello, I'm Sarah Janita Milao, a registered radiologic technologist, currently working at St. Louis Hospital in Taarong. For today's lesson, we're gonna talk about the future of radiology, the challenges, and also the opportunities. Since we'll have Conrad Roentgen and Opero X-ray in 1895, radiology had made significant advances with the use of the digital X-rays, the ultrasounds, the computed tomography, the magnetic resonance imaging, and the positron emission tomography, or also known as the PETs. The development of interventional radiology at a specialty in its own alright illustrate this too. In this review, we will discuss the exciting opportunities and new challenges that radiology faces in the modern era. Radiology has made great technological advances in recent years, and the development of interventional radiology as a specialty in its own right illustrates just how fast the specialty is evolving. A radiologist role extends much further than simply reporting scans, and they now play a central role in the management of patients. Radiologists are spending more time preparing and participating in a multidisciplinary team meetings, or also known as the MDT, they play an increasingly important role within the clinical team. Our agenda for today, we're going to talk about the opportunity in the radiology, the hemoembolization, the ultrasound beam sensitive microbubbles, functional magnetic resonance imaging or the fMRI, virtual ultrasonography, and teleradiology. And also we're gonna talk about the future challenges of radiology. The opportunity in radiology, the fast-changing nature of radiology means the radiologists continually have to learn new skills. Radiologists need to detect and root and must exercise sound judgment in order to guide the decision appropriately. Also, with the recent development in interventional radiology, with integral ill hand-eye coordination and ability to interpret images in a three-dimensional have become essential. And not only patients are now benefiting from the variety of minimally invasive procedures that are being performed. This illustrates the opportunity in the radiology that illustrate by exciting development. So actually use of minimally invasive hemoembolization and ultrasound beam sensitive microbubble and deliver chemotherapy. And these new therapies are evolving the management of patients with cancer. Conventional diagnostic radiology has also progressed in leaps and bounds with the increasing use of the functional magnetic resonance imaging, fMRI for perfusion imaging. The use of minimally invasive hemoembolization, a minimally invasive treatment for liver cancer that combines the direct delivery of concentrated chemotherapy and a blocking agent into the blood vessel that feeds the air. The ultrasound beam sensitive microbubble, or also known as the ultrasound target microbubble diffraction or the UTMD is a prominent technique for non-invasive target drug delivery and its applications in chemotherapeutic drug delivery to solid tumors have attracted growing interest. Perfusion, functional magnetic resonance imaging, or the fMRI, is based upon arterial pin labeling or the ASL methods offered a useful complement to both fMRI. When we say bold, they elaborate it. Wait, and then delete that again. We bold, B-O-L-D. It means blood. I B stand for blood. O stand for oxygen. L stand for level. D stand for dependent. So the bold stand for blood oxygen level dependent, fMRI. It can provide quantitative measure of both baseline functional changes in the cerebrospinal fluid or the EVF and aid in the interpretation of both in signal change. And the development of the virtual allelotopy for the identification of the bowel malignancy. With a virtual allelotopy and a minimally invasive exam screen for cancer of the large intestine or the colon cancer. The virtual allelotopy is also known as the screening allelography. Unlike traditional allelotopy, which required a probe to be inserted into your rectum and advanced through your colon, virtual allelotopy uses a CT scan to produce hundreds of rotational images of your abdominal organs. The images are combined and digitally manipulated to provide a detailed view of the inside of the colon and rectum. The increasing use of positron emission tomography or PET is also an area that is rapidly developing in the diagnosis and treatment of neurology patients. The imaging PET uses a small amount of radioactive material called radiotracer or radiopharmaceuticals, a special camera and a computer to evaluate organ and tissue functions. By identifying changes at the cellular level, PET may detect the early onset of disease before other imaging tests end. Next is another exciting opportunity in the advent of teleradiology. Within teleradiology, it is the transmission of radiological patient images such as X-rays, CTs, and MRIs from one location to another for the purpose of sharing studies with other radiologists and physicians. Within tele, from the Greek word tele, which means distant or far. The future challenges of radiology. Although radiology is a fast-growing specialty, it runs the risk of becoming a victim of its own success. An increasing amount of radiology-related work is being done by the other specialties, for example, the vascular tent, the vascular surgeon already perform endovascular tents, and gynecologists perform ultrasound examinations. The use of the focus assessment with sonography and trauma or FATS has led to many emergency practitioners being trained in the use of the ultrasounds too. Although some see it as a threat to that specialty, it may also threaten opportunities for close collaboration between the radiologists and the clinicians. In some entry examination, radiologists and cardiologists work together to report cardiac images, and collaboration may form the backbone of the radiologist services in the future. This is the increasing use of teleradiology also highlights a number of issues. Although teleradiology offers many benefits, it comes at the potential cost of detecting the radiologist from the patient and the referrer, potentially impacting on clinical care. There are also real concerns that it may be threatened on a job in the UA by outsourcing radiology services abroad. It also raising questions about the legality and the accountability of teleradiology services. Although NHS should have overall responsibility for patient care, it is not clear who will be liable if mistakes are made by the radiologist working abroad. The Royal College of Radiologists have issued guidelines on the use of teleradiology. However, concern is seen about its use in the UA. Another significant challenge faced in radiology is the pressure of targets. National Institute of Clinical Excellence, or the NICE guideline, for example, stipulate that patients presenting with stroke should have imaging performed urgently. This entails difficulties for radiologists out of art. Actionable need for stroke is more widely used. The need for factors treated adding likely to increase. This may lead to 24-hour radiologist service being implemented in which radiologists work shift rather than on calls. Although the changes in the working practice will certainly improve patient care, radiologists will have to work more on social arts, and it will impact on their work-life balance. Our second topic is all about the modern day radiology. It will be the topic will be separated between me and Ma'am Tadong. First, radiology. Radiology is known as the science of using medical imaging to help diagnose and in some cases treat diseases in the human body. Many different imaging techniques are a part of the radiology, including X-ray, computed tomography or the CT, magnetic resonance imaging or the MRI, ultrasound, and more. The first radiograph, originally radiographs were made on flat photographic plates. When George Eastman introduced film in 1918, things changed a bit. However, today, many of the radiographic images are recorded and stored digitally. Over the years, many new techniques falling into the radiology category have been introduced. CT scanning was one of them, which was invented by Godfrey Hounsfield and announced in 1972. In addition, ultrasound started to be used in the 1950s, with real-time ultrasound machines coming to the medical community in the late 1970s. More discoveries in the field of radiology since 1895. Plenty has changed. Just 1 year after Wilhelm Röntgen took the first X-ray, Antoine Henry Becquerel discovered radioactivity. In the same year, Sidney Rowland founded the first radiology journal called the Archive of Clinical Sciography. The year 1896 was a huge year, and Thomas Edison also invented the first commercial fluorescope. Many unit discoveries happened throughout the history of radiology, but none were more significant than the first discoveries. It wasn't until 1913 that another discovery was made when Albert Salomon's research led to the mammography. About 40 years later, Egan Monets developed the cerebral angiography, and another 6 years later, Frederick and Irene Juliet Curry were able to produce radioisotope artificially. In 1936, John Lawrence treated leukemia with the Footrude 32 in 1950s were an important decade at David Edmond Hall invented the PET or the fluorescent emission tomography. In addition, Seven Evar Seldinger developed a technique. The 1950s were also a decade when Ian Donald invented ultrasound. The history of radiology continued into the 1960s when Charles Potter introduced image-guided intervention, and Benjamin Felson published the Felson's Principles of Radiology. The 1970s brought along the CT scanner, which came from the Godfrey Hadfield and Anna McLeod Horvath. In addition, the first commercial MRI scanner was developed by Raymond Vahan the Mason in 1977. The next topic, the participation of the medical professional, will be tackled by Ma'am Tanong. And that's it for my topic for today. Thank you for listening and have a good day.
Okay. Okay. Participation of the medical professionals. The development of these imaging techniques in the medical field has made it possible for doctors to be involved in the management of a patient illness. So as we all know, that advancement of radiological technology really helps health professionals to detect various illnesses and abnormality, and even when separated by great distances. Radiology is considered by many as the cornerstone of healthcare facility. The contribution of today's modern radiology and its importance is that a modern radiology department in any hospital must adhere to the highest standard. For example, from scheduling of patients, the staff must instruct the patient properly with the proper instruction, like for full abdominal CT scan. So, kailangan na yung mga technician maayos nilang ma-explain sa patient yung mga kailangan na gawin before sa procedure. And eventually, kailangan na ma-inform ang patient kung kailan yung availability ng kanilang test result. Ang radiologic expert and technician also must explain to the patient must explain the procedure to the patient before its start. So, kung before tayo mag-start ng ating procedure, kailangan na natin na ma-explain sa patient yung procedure, and kailangan na magpa-sign tayo ng consent before sa procedure, and i-explain natin sa kanila kung ano yung mga risk factor na pwedeng mangyari during the procedure. Kailangan din po na yung mga radiologists they have the knowledge and skill to interpret the result accurately for appropriate referral and management. So typically, medical imaging results are correlated with other laboratory examination. So for example, if the patient has a ultrasound full abdomen and their result is fatty liver, so your referring physician nila, magre-request yan ng mga laboratory examination for further evaluation ng patient. So this test conducted on the patient, and the radiologist really plays a vital role in healthcare when they interpret the result of medical imaging test that leads the right diagnosis. So consequently, appropriate treatment is used for the patient. So itong mga image-guided therapeutic intervention, like image-guided example nito is yung mga image or yung mga ultrasound guided biopsy, CT scan guided biopsy. So from the guidance of radiological machine, malalaman natin kung itong bukol na ito is benign or malignant. So, yung ating mga referring physician, alam nila kung ano yung next na move nila to treat certain kind of illnesses. So one day, radiology could save your life as well, and really the radiological machine or radiological technologies really help other referring physician to diagnose or to treat their patient accurately. Good day, everyone. I am Gladys Hazel Tadong, and now I am going to report challenges in radiologic technologist relationship. So allow me to present my PowerPoint. Okay, so challenges in the radiologic technologist relationship. Introduction: effective radiologists' RT work habits should share some of same characteristics, enabling those pairs to provide quality patient care. So if we RadTechs have a good quality image on our radiograph, radiologists will also have a diagnosis accurately. But there are several strains on the relationship today. So there are strategies. In my report, I'm going also to state here the challenges, the on how to make a relationship strong with the radiologist. So these strategies in place that are working to fortify the partnership, though, because this interaction is necessary to produce an actionable radiology report. So we all know that the radiologist is very dependent with the technologies because we do the X-ray, the ultrasound, the CT scan, MRI, and whatsoever. So radiology is very dependent upon the technologies to get some most information from patient. It also helps them to get better reads and provide a better diagnosis. So I stated here the 3 challenges that we are facing on our daily work. First is increased volume. The combination of increasing workloads and decreasing staff level is pressuring the relationship. So because fewer people are expected to work out for reads in the same amount of time. So ang example nito is like in ultrasound, we only have one radiologist that will read like 80 ultrasound procedures in a day. Then this will be pressuring to our radiologist. And then if we, kasi kami yung nagda-draft ng reports, so if we have a wrong laterality on the reports, syempre minsan nagagalit yung radiologist kasi nga ang dami-dami niyang babasahin tapos mali-mali pa yung pagkakadraft. And kulang-kulang yung mga images na napapasok doon sa system namin. So, yun na, doon na nagsistart yung conflict with between radiologist and technologist. So, second is teleradiology explosion. So, sa amin, sa aking workplace, since na nag-start yung COVID-19 our department also started teleradiology. So, yung mga radiologists namin, nagsa-skeletal working duty sila. Isa lang yung pumapasok sa, isang radiologist lang yung pumapasok sa department, then other radiologists are working at home. So, kami, mga ultrasound tech, we do the ultrasound and then we send it to the doctors. We send a complete images with the physical examination and complaints of the patient attached to the images. So the doctor can have all the information that she or he needs to have a accurate or good diagnosis. So number 3 is the greater digitization, such as PACS, the complexity of new technologies such as customizing of images can also weigh heavily on the ability of radiologists and RT to communicate correctly. So again, in ultrasound, example nito is if you overdo the contrast or you overdo or you sa tawag ani ang tawag dyan, if you manipulate the, like in X-ray, if you do or overdo manipulate the KBP and the contrast, syempre if you overexpose or underexpose the images, then the radiologist cannot diagnose the images that you send properly. So, hindi niya masyadong makita yung mga abnormality that nandoon sa radiograph. So, making a relationship strong, the keystone is open communication. So, making a relationship strong po is, number 1 is by asking question to radiology. So, dapat tayo mga radtechs, hindi tayo mahiyang magtanong doon sa radiologist kung ano ang next or ano ang gusto niya na style or technique na paggawa ng X-ray ba or CT scan or ultrasound. So, eto siya nga, technologists should feel comfortable posing questions to or asking for guidance from radiologists. Kasi nga, di ba, patients are only well served if all the people or all staff are working together and with the full extent. So, we all know naman that work days are so very long and stressful, but if we do communicate with each other, it can still take time to answer questions if someone has them. So, second is know each other. So, facilities offer more interaction with radiologists, with artists. First, go through orientation. So, dapat yung manager, if there's a newly hired rad techs or ultrasound tech, the manager should introduce the newly hired rad techs to all the radiologists and should endorse kung ano yung mga techniques and style ng each radiologist sa department. So also, we should also familiar with the radiologist order. Radiologists should provide artists with more context around order studies and why are they necessary and what is the radiologist trying to determine. So if you, ang example nito is, kunwari, sa X-ray, nag-X-ray ka, then, dapat nakastate din doon sa iyong radiographs ang complaint ng patient and ang history. Kasi sa amin sa Davao Doc, sa aming department, yung request ng patient and yung physical examination ina-upload na namin siya together with the images. So, kung pag-open ng radiologist ng images, makikita na din niya yung request form ng patients and also their complaints. So, hindi na sila mahihirapan na yung hindi na sila mahirapan pa and na kailangan pa nilang tawagin yung RadTech para itanong kung ano ang complaint ng patient na ito. So, nandoon na sa images. So, okay, and number 4, making changes to PACS and more ways to provide direct feedback and raise red flags about image quality of study protocols from within the PACS system could help both professionals streamline their productivity and quality output. So I also add here the one strengthening strategy is first by educating peers. So nasabi ko na ito kanina na ang senior technologists dapat i-guide niya yung mga newly hired radtechs to help them produce a high quality image at work. And then second is emphasis on compliance and controllable factors. So, syempre, tayong mga radtechs, kung first day at work pa lang, syempre, hindi pa naman natin talaga kabisado yung mga controls doon sa X-ray control booth, 'di ba? So over time or in time, ang ating skill is nade-develop siya. And so kung ma-develop na siya, then that time we can now produce a high quality images and we know how to do the proper patient technique and how to instruct patient properly. So, working together daw po, artists will have community with which to discuss issues affecting quality and productivity. So, if you work together, then it could be more faster and the work can be done ahead of time. Then fourth is regular staff meetings. So in each department, there should be a monthly meeting to discuss incident reports, complain on how to do to improve quality images on the radiographs. So assessment and conclusion, the more changes for this interaction facilitates can create, the stronger the radiologist-RT relationship will be. So the strength and power of the radiologist-RT relationship comes down to how they view one another within the workplace. And also mutual respect is a big part of radiologist-technologist relationship, being as strong as possible. Everyone must understand exactly what the rules of individual people are and what they can and can't do. Okay, so this ends my report, and thank you for staying with me, and I hope that you learned something from my report. And that's all. Thank you, and God bless, and keep safe. Thank you.